rose to fame and fortune. That maleante, that gambero, was not going to destroy her bright future. All this I had heard more than once. Carol Alvarado, Consuelo's older sister, was Lottie Herschel's nurse. Carol had begged and pleaded with her sister to have an abortion. Consuelo's general health wasn't strong. She'd already had cyst surgery at 14 and was diabetic. Carol and Lottie both tried telling Consuelo these conditions made for troubled pregnancies, but the girl was adamant about having the baby. To be 16, diabetic, and pregnant is not a pleasant state. In August, with no air conditioning, it must have been close to intolerable. But Consuelo, thin and sick, was happy. She'd found a perfect exit from the pressure and the glory heaped on her since birth by the rest of the family. Everyone knew that it was fear of Consuelo's brothers that kept Fabiano searching for work. His mother seemed perfectly willing to support him indefinitely. He apparently thought if he let things slide long enough, he could slide right out of Consuelo's life. But Paul, Herman, and Diego had been breathing down his neck all summer. They had beaten him up once, Carol told me, half worried. Fabiano had a tenuous connection to one of the street gangs, but it kept him going through the motions of looking for a job. And now Fabiano had a lead on a live one. A factory near Schaumburg was hiring unskilled labor. Carol had a boyfriend whose uncle was the manager. He had unenthusiastically agreed to help Fabiano if the young man came out for an interview. Carol had roused me at 8 this morning. She hated to bother me, but everything depended on Fabiano's making it to that interview. His car had broken down. That bastard! He probably broke it himself to avoid the trip. Lottie was tied up. Mama didn't know how to drive. Diego, Paul, and Herman were all working. Vi, I know how much an imposition this is, but you are almost family, and I cannot involve strangers in Consuelo's affairs. I ground my teeth. Fabiano was the kind of half-sullen, half-arrogant punk I used to spend my life with as a public defender. I'd hoped to leave them behind me when I became a private investigator 8 years ago. But the Alvarados gave of themselves freely. A year ago Christmas, Carol sacrificed the day to look after me when I took an unplanned bath in Lake Michigan. Then there was the time Paul Alvarado babysat for Jill Thayer when her life was in danger. I could remember countless other occasions, great and small. I had no choice. I agreed to pick them up at Lottie's clinic at noon. The clinic was close enough to the lake that a breeze lifted some of the terrible summer heat. But when we reached the expressway and headed for the northwest suburbs, the heavy air slammed at us. My little car has no air conditioning, and the hot wind forced in through the open windows dampened even Consuelo's enthusiasm. In the mirror, I could see her looking white and wilted. Fabiano had moved to the other side of the seat, saying sullenly that the heat was too intense for closeness. We came to an intersection with Route 58. "The turn should be close by here," I called over my shoulder. "Which side of the road are we looking for?" "Left," Fabiano muttered. "No," Consuelo said. "Right. Carol said the north side of the highway." "Maybe you should be talking to the manager," Fabiano said angrily in Spanish. "You set up the interview, you know the route. Do you trust me to go in by myself, or do you want to do that for me?" "I'm sorry, Fabiano. Please forgive me. I worry for the baby's sake. I know you can handle this by yourself." He pushed aside her pleading hand. We came to Osage Way. I turned north and followed the street for a mile or two. Consuelo had been right. Canary and Bidwell, paint manufacturers, stood back from the road in a modern